It starts with an idea. You're onto something. A truly meaningful solution for a problem facing our society. So you persevere. You push forward. Then one day, you're ready to make your pitch. This is your dream. Your chance to make an impact. Your positive change in the world. You talk to us. We're looking for solutions. We're inspired by your idea. We see the potential for impact. We act on it. We give advice and guidance, business and technology insights, expert mentorship, a sense of community, and a movement that's greater than all of us. We connect you with investors and partners that see the benefit beyond the spreadsheet. Suddenly, opportunities that were out of reach are now within your grasp. And because we see the world through your eyes, we're with you every step of the way, creating a real, sustainable business that connects profit with purpose, financial return with value for society. The result might just change the world. Brinc, empowering game changers.
Hi everyone, and welcome to Brinc's Spring 2021 Demo Day. I hope you and your loved ones are staying healthy and safe wherever in the world you may be. We're here today to talk about food. More importantly, to meet the game changers that are disrupting our food systems. At Brinc, we get excited about the work we get to do day in and day out because we believe we can drive a real meaningful change, not only for ourselves, for our families, for the communities where we live, but also for future generations, our fellow Earthlings, and the planet overall. We get to back teams with capital and support them through their development journeys and development life cycles so that they can get here to speak to you today. Our milestone, our format for Demo Day has changed this year, just like it does every time, as we're constantly iterating to build and improve our experience. This year, we've decided to focus on a vertical focused Demo Day. So today is all about food. Next week, we'll host another one on medtech, supply chain and logistics, and we'll keep going from there. Hopefully, this will permit a much more tailored and unique experience for key stakeholders like yourselves that are in this space to connect, to share insights, and drive outcomes, all in a much more efficient and effective manner. So usually at this time, I'll go on my rant about how important it is to create a sustainable food supply and how horrendous animal agriculture is and why it needs to end. But today I'm not going to subject you to that. You're more than welcome to go onto YouTube and watch any of the videos we've uploaded in the past for entertainment at some point later. Today I'm going to tell you more about why I'm bullish on an animal-free food system, more today than ever before. Number one, we're seeing more companies develop products that have higher fidelity to meat and dairy than ever before. What we mean by that is there's more ingredients being brought in with new processing techniques that are leading to expanded taste and texture profiles by startups all around the world. In essence, we're getting super close to the tastes and textures and price points that people demand. Number two, we also have seen investment go through the roof. We're seeing rounds fill faster than ever before. Just in the last quarter, we had 4 of our portfolio teams close multi-million-dollar follow-on rounds, all that were oversubscribed with no shortage of interest coming in. We have now additional deals that are going through the same journey, and we're seeing the exact same thing. Money is entering this space faster than ever before, and there's also more late-stage growth companies going into IPOs in this category than ever before. And we don't think this is ever going to slow down. Number 3, the media, consumers, governments are all embracing this at record speed. I'm sure everyone on this chat and even your close circles can agree that there's multiple places where you can go today to get plant-based alternates or even in one country, lab-grown meat on shelves, in restaurants, and via e-commerce for food delivery. This was unheard of just 2 years ago. We're honestly moving at record speed. Number 4, more big food corporates and household names are launching their own meat and dairy-free products. They're also setting up their own manufacturing lines, or they're transitioning and looking at how they evolve their business, and also deploying capital into funds, going into deals, and they've all made it clear that this new version of the future that we're all excited about is here to stay, and it's not going anywhere. Number 5, we are seeing more startups in this category than ever before. Our application funnels are blowing up. We're seeing better and more focused applications as well, which is fantastic. We're seeing more regional teams with localized products that are tailoring their products to the local palates and are understanding the local market, business conditions, consumer pricing, as well as cultural profiles. I think this shows that the overall category is growing and that entrepreneurs from all around the world are seeing the potential and are getting involved. And they're driving true disruption and change. And I think this is going to push the entire industry forward on a global scale. Again, remember, this isn't about competition, because players in the plant-based space or lab-based space are not going against themselves. They're going against the incumbents in the market that are still using animal agriculture and using old and traditional mechanisms to bring food to our tables and our stores. Number 5, sustainability has become the heart of every conversation we have today. People are getting called out, and this isn't a topic that we can change, because you can no longer just greenwash this or activate this as a CSR initiative. There are real guidelines and frameworks being drawn out, and governance is coming at a speed that faster before. And there's much, much more. All in all, I like to say, we have, for the first time, all the ingredients for us to go out and cook the perfect dish. It's an exciting time, and we think it's the right time to be in this space, and we encourage more of you to get involved. Not only do we believe this is an unstoppable movement, but you can also make real money in the process. We think in the next few decades, we will end animal agriculture. Heck, it may even be in the next decade or the next few years, given how fast this is all moving. Bottom line is, now is the time. There is no stopping this movement. It is no longer a trend. Plant and lab-grown food are here to stay and will change the way we eat forever. With that, I'm going to open up to a panel where we will hear from industry stakeholders on why alternate protein is the future of food. And they'll speak before the teams get on stage and share what they've been up to for the last few months. I want to thank you for tuning in today and spending the next few hours with us and meeting some fantastic teams. Thank you and enjoy.
Hi, my name is Guillermo Ginesta, and I would like to welcome you to our Spring 2021 Food Demo Day, our third fully virtual showcase. Different times require different solutions, so we're very glad that we can still get together to celebrate these amazing startups. But before we move on to the main event, that is the startups presentations, I just want to spend a minute explaining the format of today's affair and how this platform works. I'm sure most of you are already quite familiar with online events, but just want to make sure you know how to find the startups information and how to connect with them. First, please stay here on the stage area of the platform. All presentations will take place here for the next 45 minutes or so. You can interact with other participants via the Network tab on the left of your screen, where you can connect with fellow investors, participants, and the founders. However, just remember that the stage is live, so try not to miss any of the presentations. There's going to be plenty of time for networking later. Remember that the startups are here and they're eager to chat. They want to connect and answer any questions you may have. Feel free to reach out directly via the chat, or let someone from Brinc know and we can connect you after the event. Once again, we thank you for joining, and please stick around the stage to enjoy the startups presentations. Thank you for coming and enjoy the show.
Very much, everybody, for being here today. To start with, it would be great if you could all please tell me a little bit about yourself, what you do, and why you have chosen to operate in the alt protein space. Perhaps I could start with Nydia.
Hi everybody. My name is Nidia, and thank you so much, Brinc, for inviting me to join this very special occasion. Super excited. So I am the chairman of the advisory council at Good Food Institute Asia Pacific. The Good Food Institute, we are a global organization that dedicated in accelerating the growth and development of alternative protein using technology. Our vision is to create a just food ecosystem globally. And besides my work with GFI APAC, I am also the strategic advisor for FTW Ventures. We are a San Francisco-based early stage food tech investment firm that will look at the holistic food value chain. The reason I've chosen to operate in alternative protein space, that is a great question. So I got involved in alternative protein back in 2019. And then I think for me, two things that I firmly believe. I think one is that I believe that we do have the power and ability to solve the big hairy question, which is how do we feed 10 billion people by 2050? And then my second belief is that technology will be the answer. So the power and then of alternative protein that fascinates me at the first place is that I think it's the first time that everybody on the planet Earth actually will have the accessibility and then will have the actionable power to contribute on this saving the environment journey. And then I see alternative protein is still at a nascent place. So that requires all of us to do what we can. And then when I talk about alternative protein, I want to mention that I don't think it should just limit in consumer products. What I believe is that it will be a holistic advanced food ecosystem from supply chain to manufacturing capacity, and then to consumer products, and then to new crops, and then to better functional ingredients. So I believe alternative protein will give us, the possibility and hope for humankind to really solve the problems that we will all be facing one day.
Thank you, Nydia. Definitely agree that it has the potential to touch all parts of the supply chain and will help us feed, I think, almost 10 billion people sustainably in the next 20 years. Thank you for sharing. Perhaps, Sonali, you could tell us a little bit more about yourself, what you do, and why you've chosen to operate in the alt protein space.
Absolutely. So I'm Sonali Figueres. I'm the editor-in-chief and founder of Green Queen Media. I started Green Queen Media first as a blog because I had switched to living a greener life in Hong Kong and I wanted to help people get information. But a couple of years after that, I realized that we were in dire need of a media platform that was focused on what I considered to be the biggest issues of our time, namely the climate crisis and basically the growing field of sustainability. When I looked around me, there were no mainstream media outlets in Asia really focusing on this, other than maybe talking about clean energy. So I saw a real opportunity, and I also saw that there were all these incredible founders and entrepreneurs and solutionists that were working to fight these issues despite no mass attention. So that's how Green Queen got created. Today, we are one of the leading media outlets in the world for alternative protein. And the reason that we focus on alternative protein is because I do believe that the most important thing that somebody can do today to contribute and to participate in solving the climate crisis is to change what's on their plate. And I do believe that alternative protein and more broadly alternative food, basically new ways to think about our existing food system and take into account things like technology, but also different ways to produce food. I think that's basically, there's no other, scientists have shown that that is the most meaningful, the most emission contribution that you can make. So that's why we dedicate up to 60% of our regular content to alternative proteins. I also think that food is the one universal constant and uniter. We all need to eat. We don't all need to subscribe to fashion. We don't all need to play sports, but we all eat every single day. We need to for our survival. So it is the one language we all speak, no matter where we're from and who we are. And it just turns out that it is the number one way that you can approach, the climate crisis. So that's where I'm coming from. I've been in the food space for a really long time. I also run an organic sourcing platform. I've spent the last 10 years going to every major food show in the world. I've seen every trend start. We've been writing about alternative proteins actually for over 6 years. So it's been really incredible to see this space kind of grow. And clearly in the last 18 months, there's been a huge shift where it's now a mainstream topic. And Green Queen is not the only media covering this. This is, CNN and Bloomberg and Forbes. But I do think that it's vital for us in the industry to have our viewpoint out, because I think there's a difference in understanding and awareness and depth in terms of how alternative proteins are portrayed and covered. And unless you're within the industry, you're not going to have all those nuances and maybe grasp the complexities to the same extent.
Oh, and I think we've spoken about this, but I think education will probably be the key piece for most consumers. And we often think, because we work in the industry, that, oh, everybody knows this, but then you realize when you step outside of that bubble, actually, there's such a need to make everyone aware of your diet and problems associated with
That's so
it.
true.
Yeah.
That's so true.
And Tim, last but definitely not least, could you please tell us a little bit more about yourself, what you do, and why you've chosen to operate in this space?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. Tim from Artesian. I'm based in Melbourne, Australia. We've, I guess, over the last 3 to 4 years, become increasingly interested in alternative protein investments. We have a history of being in agri and food in terms of tech investments, probably for the last 5 to 6 years. Through our association with Brinc, we have I guess been exposed to a lot of alternative protein ideas that have come through the Hong Kong accelerator that we have invested in, and also through our Sprout X fund here in Australia. So look, it's an area that I think has the ability to generate profound change globally, environmentally, obviously, in the, with a rising middle class, particularly throughout Asia. Food security and provenance is becoming a much more important issue, and I think the alternative protein space plays very nicely to that. Also, animal welfare, which is a very important issue that's perhaps not talked about as much in the investment sphere. I have 2 vegetarian daughters who like to remind me of that point as often as they can. So yeah, look, it makes, I'm a VC. It makes a lot of sense from an investment point of view, first and foremost, leaving aside all of the very positive impacts of alternative protein investment. So yeah, we're on board. We're now into the double figures of numbers of alternative protein investments and globally. So yeah, very exciting.
Thank you. Well, on that thread, actually, while I still have you, could you please share a little bit more about the most interesting and impactful companies you've come across in the alt protein space? What do you think differentiates them from their competitors, and what made you choose to invest in or work with them?
Yeah. The first, I guess, alt protein investment we made was into an insect protein company here in Australia, generating insect protein for animal food, which is one of the 2 sort of principal plays with insect protein. There's insect protein for human consumption, and then not. And this was one that was not. Edible Bug Shop is the name of the company. And then, as I said, through our exposure with through Brinc, we have made a number of investments. So if we start with perhaps one that's gained a lot of prominence recently, Turtle Tree Labs, which is producing milk, starting with human milk in a bioreactor. They've had a meteoric rise to fame over the last sort of 12 months and are now doing a Series A with an eye-watering pre-money valuation, which we're lucky enough to be participating in. So that's a great story. One that's slightly different and perhaps not squarely in the food space, but I think still with a major environmental impact is Galley, which is producing cotton in a bioreactor. That being in Australia is pretty close to our heart here. There's a huge cotton industry in Australia, and Australia being the second driest continent on the planet after Antarctica, we really can't sustain a cotton industry here. So growing that in a bioreactor using perhaps somewhere between 10 to 20% of the water required to grow it outdoors is a wonderful innovation. A plant-based protein investment that we also sourced through Brinc was Future Foods plant-based pork in Southeast Asia. So that's an exciting one, and one of the first that we made. Yeah, look, there's a number of others. I won't go through them at the moment, but yeah, we're very excited about those.
Thank you. And Sonali and Nydia, I know we're not supposed to have favorites, but could you share a little bit more about the most interesting and impactful companies you've come across and what differentiates them?
You want me to go first?
Okay. Sure.
Okay. Nydia, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I was about to wait for you to see what you say, and kind of feeling the water to say,
yeah,
I
can do the same because there's just so many great companies. Natalie, are we limiting it to Asia Pacific, or do you mean in the whole world?
We're not limited, no, not at all. So our program, as you know, it deploys globally. So all the investments are international, and we keep
Sure. Just because Nydia and I spend a lot of time in APAC, but I mean, I'm definitely, Nydia, how about this? You pick a few from Asia and I'll try and do the rest of the world. What about that?
But the rest of the world has so
many. Just a couple. Maybe I'll talk about.
I actually, you know what? I will let you go first, and then maybe I will just give some high level trends and stuff like that, and then maybe I will pick a few on my own as well. Yeah.
So sure, no problem. So Natalie, that is a really tough question, just because Green Queen literally covers every single startup in the space, and at this point, I think I was checking PitchBook the other day. We're up to about over 700 different alternative protein companies. So what I'd like to highlight instead are some technologies and a few highlights from those let's say verticals. So I'm incredibly interested in precision fermentation. So that would be what Perfect Day has pioneered with their animal-free dairy, and what companies like Change Foods and Formo are doing with cheese, although they're not ready yet, they're still working on it, and what Clara Foods is doing with egg. So I love the idea of precision fermentation because I feel the regulatory hurdles are in a way lesser, because we already know this technology. We've already been using it to make insulin for diabetics. And I also like the fact that it has a lot of really strong defensible IP, because every company can come up with their own kind of way to do it, versus just a machinery play, right? And at the end of the day, this is truly giving people what they want, right? Which is, especially in the field of dairy, which I think has traditionally been one of the harder ones to replicate from a plant-based point of view. So I'm hugely bullish in that, and I personally wish that we had more precision fermentation companies in APAC. So Change Foods started out in Australia. They're kind of shifting to the US. That's the market they're going to conquer first. But other than that, we really don't have anyone there. So I'm hoping that that we see more in that space. The other field that I think is extremely exciting is the field of kind of using mycelium as a base, and then so there's Nature's Fine, which is doing using fungi with biomass fermentation, which is a different technology, or you have companies like Meaty, which are really creating steak from mycelium and scaffolds. And again, I see that as a little bit of an easier path to market, especially in terms of consumer acceptance. So I personally believe that, cell-based meat is going to eventually take over, and once it reaches price parity, I really do think it's just going to be on supermarket shelves and people are going to go for it. In the same way that people don't really question if their meat is coming from, animals that have been treated badly and full of hormones and antibiotics, right? That's not, let's say 80 to 90% of the meat we eat, that's what we're eating. So I think people are in the end, they're going for price and convenience in the supermarket, and then in restaurants they're going for taste. So I think if once cell-based meats reaches that, the sky's the limit. But the problem is, I think it may be difficult to get there fast, like within 5 years, because of regulatory bumps, and because there will initially be this consumer kind of reluctance because of all this, issues in their mind surrounding lab grown and novel, synthetic, and all these kind of ways that it's described. And so when I look at, what I would put my money in today, I think those are great, but they're longer plays, right? Whereas I think fermentation is underexplored, and yet with a shorter timeline to market. And with mycelium, it's a type of fungi, so it's essentially a whole food. I also find it fascinating that it grows so fast, so you're reducing production time to mere days, right? And I think that as we get more stressed, and Tim mentioned with cotton in Australia being one of the driest countries, what people don't realize, because we don't realize until it's too late, is that the climate crisis it's not happening separately, right? It's going to affect everything. Land, arable land, right? Like, we are going to have trouble growing coffee and chocolate. It's already happening, right? And
Water,
so,
even, yeah.
and then of course there's the water issue, and we don't have enough clean water for our needs. And then the other thing that I often feel people miss in this sector is everyone talks about alternative proteins as if we have a choice, as if it's like, well, we could opt into alternative proteins. But the reality is that because of the demand in protein consumption, the growth in protein consumption, because of the demand coming from populations where the socioeconomic levels are rising, we need another source of production. The current system, even if we keep it for all its flaws, it's not going to produce enough. So we need these. So for me, there's no question that alternative proteins will continue to do well, but in terms of what consumers will easily take to, I do see a lot of potential with, these mycelium companies, because they're able to get the texture, they're able to get the look and feel, they're probably going to be able to bring the costs down dramatically. They've got production that's low, they don't need a lot of water, they're very low resource. And then at the same time, you can explain it to a customer by saying, well, this is a fungi, so you know what this is. This is an organism. You eat mushrooms already. So I see those things as key to acceptance. So
yeah, something relatable and existing technologies that we already use. Another one that really reminds me of that is microalgae around seaweed. So yeah, same thing.
But the issue with the microalgae, and I love it. Again, I've actually I've definitely advised people to invest in many algae startups. Is we've had algae technology and progress for many years, but one of the big issues with algae is the taste. So I think we need a little bit more work to overcome that taste that can put people off. And so many cool startups are doing it. I mean, we've got, Aqua, and we've got Backyard Algae Science is amazing. I mean, those guys, what they're doing in Chicago, actually, they might be one of my favorite companies, because, what made Impossible Burger so sexy was essentially that heme, right? Which actually they use precision fermentation to do, even though we put them in the plant-based category. But that heme, which in their case is GM, right? That is what gives their meat that iron-rich mouthfeel that imitates essentially blood, which is in beef. And BYAS out of Chicago, the Backyard Algae Science team, they've managed to create a heme made out of algae that is non-GM and that can be added to any plant-based meat, and then give that iron-rich mouthfeel. So I find that to be exciting. And actually, the companies that excite me the most are B2B supply chain, kind of the ones doing like scaffolding for cell-based. And, what we're not seeing as much of is machinery startups. Like, where are all the bioreactor startups, right? Because that's going to be a huge part of the scaling.
Yeah, and the entire supply chain, whereas now everything, whereas it's on benchtop or lab scale, if you envision actually lab grown or even fermentation based or precision fermentation really replacing the volume that we need, we don't have the infrastructure for it now.
We don't. And I mean, we barely have the infrastructure for scaling plant-based meat companies. We have too many companies at the, at downstream. We have too many brands and we don't have enough production. And I mean, any serious founder you speak to in plant-based meat, their biggest issue is scaling.
Mm.
Like, where do they find co-packers, co-mans,
extruders? Yeah, no, we hear this problem quite often. No,
absolutely. I've always wondered, why aren't there more entrepreneurs solving for this? We need infrastructures of production for precision fermentation, for cellular agriculture, for plant-based meats.
No, definitely. Tim, to keep in mind for our next batch of investments. Nydia, would you have anything to add to that?
I think it's so comprehensive that Solani just told us. I think maybe one thing that I want to add is that I'm also a big fan of fermentation, and I think because it will be a lower hurdle for consumer acceptance, and then maybe a lower technical hurdles. And I think one example I can give it to a company that's really pioneering using fermentation is probably Jaltour. And what's interesting about Jaltour is that they're using fermentation to produce human collagen, and actually earlier this year they also mentioned they will be pushing the first vegan collagen, and it will be used in the plant-based F&B industries. But I do want to mention, their first example for their go-to-market strategy is actually to be used in cosmetics, and I think that really gives a example about the possibilities of ingredients and what plants what fermentation can deliver to the world. It will never be limited to just food, and that we're really looking at a wide range, of impacts, alternative protein that can make to the world. And I think, Jaltour give a good example. And then maybe one thing is that I like the idea of new plants. I don't know if anybody share my interest. I like the idea of that there is, there are just more choices or options for us to explore, outside of soy, wheat, and then, the normal suspects. And I believe that we will be able to grow new plants that were, was not being discovered before. For example, there is a company called Plantable that they are growing this lima protein, which, that they can be farmed sustainably, and they're flavorless. They're super versatile in terms of functionality, and then protein content, etc. And then I want to see more of that. And then maybe microalgae, somebody will have a breakthrough methodology to really crack that problem with the smell, and maybe and then maybe we can even dream bigger. I heard a lot of talks about CRISPR technology right now, and there are actually different types of CRISPR technology that they can make the plants to be immune to diseases, and then maybe they can increase in their yield, maybe they can increase their functionality. So what I'm saying is that while we are solving, for example, the capacity and the manufacturing sort of issues, and that we should also keep our eyes open, and then to push ourselves to really cross the limit of what else technology for alternative protein that we can achieve.
So looking more and more, I think, to summarize from both of you, around B2B, the entire holistic supply chain, as well as technologies that are really breakthrough and have defensibility. No, I definitely agree, and points of potential of the space. But yet, I think another question I'd like to ask you, Nydia, especially from an organization like GFI, despite recent growth in the past 5-6 years, when this all protein space has really blown up, the industry, as we all know, is still nascent. So what do you think are the big challenges of operating a company in this space, and how could we be doing more collectively to grow this space?
I think the first thing that jumped to my mind is public funding on R&D. As we know, when it comes to sustainability, and then on the governmental level in different countries, renewable energy definitely before alternative protein. And I think it should not be the case at all. I think, as GFI, we really dedicate ourselves in terms of governmental lobbying, and then we really want to push at the decision and the policy maker in different countries to really just allocate more R&D funding to support the public sector's kind of research on alternate protein. And the other thing is talent. That's one thing that we really want to focus on. We recently, and then when it comes to talents, I think it just really associated with public educations. And I do want to mention that recently GFIC, that is our China partner. And then they recently hosted a seminar focusing on position fermentation. And then almost, I think, 80 researchers, academias in China that focus on the same topic. They all went, and I think that is a kind of momentum that we want to cultivate to make big countries like China, and then to really just grow that first generation of people that want to take on this topic. And the other good news I want to share is that we also just opened our course in Singapore in NTU, stand for Nanyang Technology University, and then so I think in APAC region, I think we're probably one of the first organizations that collaborate with universities to really start to offer courses and fundamental knowledges. And then so it will just give students and professors some new ideas to explore. And then we really hope by doing that, that we will cultivate, we have the first generation and we have the second generation, and that we will just keep, encouraging more talent to join, join the family, and then to, may alternative protein grow faster and better.
So definitely the talent gap education is always as long with, as usual, public funding. What about Tim? Would you have a view on this? What do you think are the biggest challenges you're seeing so far in the space, and how can we be overcoming these?
Yeah, look, I mean, I'm an investor, and so I guess, a shortage of money, investment funds is going to be an impediment. There doesn't appear to be a shortage of it at the moment, but things come and they go, and fashions come in and out. So it's a big momentum play at the moment, but that may not always be the case. So I think it's important that there's success, there's exits here within this space to encourage investors to be in. At the moment, we're seeing some very, some very big increases in valuations, but until investors are actually receiving money through exits or IPOs or whatever it may be, it's essentially unproven. And there will be a lot of these businesses that I think that fail along the way, and that's life. That happens in every vertical. And so I think, look, that's important. I think, accelerators such as Brinc, the role that they play in supporting these businesses in non-financial terms is also very important. I think we'll see more of that globally. So these aren't so much as challenges as just making sure that those key components, and I am obviously looking at this from the perspective of an investor, that these key components continue to be part of the kind of the ecosystem.
No, definitely capital, and I think commercial success will definitely need to be there in order for this industry to be sustainable. So
I thought I would add the last part of that, because I think both Tim and Nydia have perfectly laid out that we need more investment in public education and open sourcing of information so that the technologies are available to all. We also need strong fundamentals, looking at the fundamentals when investing. And I myself, like Tim, worry right now there's a lot of money, but as somebody who has a media site, I watch the trends come and go. I mean, for example, organic food, there was a time when that was all the rage. And even though the fundamentals of the industry are super strong and it keeps growing, it has lost its place in the media and in investors' minds in terms of the percentage of funding that goes to that industry. So I'm just wary that, will alternative protein also kind of, will the buzz die down if there are a few, poor exits? And also, are there enough exit opportunities? So but complementary to that is, I think we need to consider that there needs to be this whole industry of what you originally brought up, which is education, but also kind of market acceptance. So we need better marketing in the space. We need more research, more surveys. We need working with retailers on how best to position these products. Right now, there's a few great companies that do this on their own, but what we really need is a whole industry of kind of these aggregate streams. Like, we also need better talent into the industry, right? And I know this is an issue. I know a lot of alternative protein companies, they, other than GFI, they don't have a lot of options for recruiting. So there's all this other stuff that an industry cannot just be about the startups. It also needs to be about the talent and the money and the education, but also this whole market acceptance part. Because all the studies are showing, like all the early studies are showing, that consumers don't really understand it that much. And usually when they don't understand, they don't buy.
Yes. And on that vein, what, from the perspective of creating this market acceptance and this marketing sort of external communications piece, since you're an expert in that, if there's one piece of advice you would give to an entrepreneur or company hoping to achieve that for their business, what would it be?
Okay, so it's hard to pick one rule because it depends what part of the supply chain you're at. But one of the precision fermentation is a great example to talk about for this, because I speak to a lot of the marketing heads and the founders in this industry, and they've been trying to figure out, how do they call their industry, right? And so far, it's looking like animal-free dairy, for example, is how they're going to go about it. Because and I was recently at the Future FoodTech event. I think Manav was there too, and I was hosting the panel of how do you communicate with your customers. And we had, Karuna from Nature's Fine, we had Irina from Change Foods, right? And we had Tom from Eat Just, and we were trying to talk about how did they come up with the terms that would be best used. Like, for example, in cellular agriculture, it seems like what people have decided to agree on is either cultivated or cultured. But how did we get there, right? Because what we as an industry, it's very difficult to pick a term that is familiar yet new, right? That describes the product accurately from the point of view of what you're buying, right? So, for example, is precision fermentation dairy? Is it vegan? Right? If you're an ethical vegan, then yeah, it's vegan because there are no animals involved. But if you buy vegan products because you want to avoid the nutritional parts of dairy, then that definition doesn't work for you, because animal-free dairy has casein or whey protein. So there are so many considerations to take into account. And here we're only talking in English. I'm sure if we spoke with people in China versus in India, like, everyone's got a different vocabulary. I mean, in many, many, many languages, there isn't even a differentiation between vegetarian and vegan. So this is what I mean. What I would say to a founder is, don't skimp on it. Like, speak to your peers, right? Speak to other founders, or get your marketing people to speak to other founders. That's what I think is so great about the precision fermentation world, is they all got together in a room and they all talked about what they felt was the best term, and they came to a consensus. And I think that's great. Don't be a cowboy going in your own world, and because you only have that one option, that one chance to kind of present your product to the consumer. And if you make a mistake, or if it backfires, that's not just impacting you, it's impacting the whole industry. So I do believe in checking with your peers and getting consensus, but also put the time in and do some consumer research, which is actually very difficult to do. It's difficult to do consumer research on foods that don't exist yet.
Yeah.
So, I have to say, I think what I'm seeing is a lot of startups are spending money on their marketing talent, and I think that's a great decision.
Yeah. Definitely need more of that. I'm going to ask you to come in and tell all of our startups that with a microphone. Yeah.
And I gotta say, in Asia, we're not so good at that. We don't invest in marketing and comms talent. We see it as not important. We're used to relying on distribution to get our products out, right? So we just work on having, relationships with big retailers. But unfortunately, in this industry, it's not going to be enough.
Yep, the importance of really spending that time on how you're communicating your business, but also doing that collectively so that it can be something that all your peers do together.
And let's look at Impossible Foods. I mean, love him or hate him, they've done an amazing thing for the industry. I mean, they put the industry on the map to some extent, even more than beyond. They made their marketing so cool, so interesting. I mean, you cannot go 1 week without there being an impossible story in the news, and that was true even before there were IPOs in the space. They figured out the importance that they invested in that. And I mean, this is a company founded by a scientist. So not somebody that really cares about marketing, but he's smart enough to have understood that it was important and they should invest in it.
Marketing. So that's one thing. And Tim, from the perspective of an investor, what is one piece of advice you give to an entrepreneur hoping to start a business in this space? What do you look for the most?
I think the same advice you give to any entrepreneur. I don't think the fundamentals of that change. You've got to be solving a genuine problem. You've got to be creating something that the market wants, rather than building it and hoping they come. You've got to be aware of your competition. I mean, I suppose it's just the same basics that apply. I can't really think of anything that's sort of different with this vertical. I think just that same basic advice.
Okay, thank you. And Nydia, anything sort of you would share to any entrepreneurs hoping to start a business in this space?
Right. I guess it's time to put my investors head on. I guess, for I do believe that plant-based and cultivated meat companies, they're facing different hurdles. So maybe I give separate advices. So I think for plant-based is that marketing is quite important, but I do want to mention that for plant-based companies that they should take advantage of their regional advantages. First of all, understand that the total addressable market is sizable, but there's only so much you can eat. So focus on the market that you can really have some level of dominance, and really focus on that. I'm a strong believer that the first converters, the first batch of believers, they will be your core audience for the years to come. So I think really spend time, convey your message right with those the first generation of your audience and consumers. I think that's truly important. And I think for cultivated companies that since they're still in relatively earlier stage, and then they do have I would say more technical hurdles to jump through. So I think one is that when it comes to talking to investors, be realistic and then be honest, because if we don't know your problems, which means that we're not going to make fun of you, because in the end we want everything to succeed because that's good for the industry. But if you don't convey what is your bottleneck, that we won't able to help you. So that it will just be inefficient on communication on both sides. So the quicker you can tell us what is the realistic landscape of your current company, the better. And I guess last is probably more general advice is that never be afraid to change, because I understand early stage ventures, and then for companies that you bet on people but not on the company, right? So I think don't be afraid to change, but when you change with conviction.
No.
Yeah.
Great advice. Thank you very much, all of you, for your time and for sharing your insights into this space. Last point, if anybody in the audience would like to get in touch with you, how can they reach you? Sonali, perhaps you can start first.
Sure. I'm at Sonali at greenqueen.com.hk. So Sonali is Sonale. And you can also check our website, greenqueen.com.hk. We're on social at Green Queen HK on all channels. And also we do have a very popular newsletter every Thursday called Alt Protein Weekly, which gives you kind of an overview of everything happening in the space. So I wouldn't miss that if this is a space, a sector of interest for you. And you can sign up on the website. Thank you for having me.
And Tim?
Yeah, look, old school email is best, tim@artesianinvest.com. Send me an email and I'll get back to you.
Thank you. And Nydia?
I'm pretty easy to be found on LinkedIn. So just like typing my name, Nydia Zhang, and then you'll be able to find me. If you have like, if you're a startup and then you're looking for investment, feel free to be at nz@ftw.vc. And then if you're in GFI APAC, so feel free to visit. I mean, we're pretty active on LinkedIn. So, I think it's that there will be an easier way. And then also please visit our website. So simply type in like GFI APAC or the Guildford Institute Asia Pacific, we'll be there. And thank you so much for including me today.
Of course. Well, thank you very much all for your time.
Hello, my name is Dan Leuning and I'm the founder and CTO of Meatable. I met Guy and Shiv a little while ago and I must say I was incredibly impressed with their passion and their ideas. Making an alternative for the way that we slaughter animals to feed our pets is amazing. A completely plant-based product with high protein and low fiber for dogs that will allow them to replace the animals in their diet completely with a plant-based alternative. This is a huge market which we are ready to disrupt, and their professionalism and vision will help to do so. So please consider Omni. Thank you.
Not many people realise that right now 1 in 2 dogs are suffering due to obesity and that 1 in 4 will get cancer in their lifetime. Humans stopped eating lots of processed meat decades ago because it's been proven to cause both of these health problems. Yet it's 2021 and it remains the main ingredient in most dog food, resulting in more pain and suffering for dogs and expensive vet bills for dog parents. But it's not just the health concerns. The world's pets eat 20% of the planet's meat. That's the equivalent environmental impact of 13.6 million cars. But with big problems come big opportunities. The global dog food market is worth £40 billion, and 34% of dog owners in the UK say that they want to switch from feeding their dogs meat-based diets to plant-based alternatives. That's a £466 million addressable market in just the UK alone, which currently has no credible offering. My name is Dr. Guy Sandelovsky, and I'm a small animal veterinarian with over 10 years clinical experience. This is my co-founder, Shiv. He's an ex-investment banker. We're friends who were brought together through our love of dogs, and because I was seeing these health problems firsthand in the clinic, and Shiv, who grew up in Sri Lanka, witnessed dogs thriving on plant-based diets. So we created Omni, the most delicious plant-based meat for dogs, and the UK's first to be formulated by a vet, bringing clinical authority to an exciting new and untapped category of dog food. Our mission is to become the world's #1 plant-powered dog food brand, and we're going to achieve this through our proprietary plant-powered formulation, which at 30% has more protein than most meat-based diets for dogs. It's also low in fat and crucially low in fiber, making it highly digestible for dogs. Omni is nutritionally complete, it's healthier, it's 90% more sustainable, and it's absolutely delicious, resulting in happier dogs and fewer vet bills for dog parents. We're also backed by science. Recent studies show that dogs eating plant-based live up to 2 years longer, and that their genes have evolved to allow them to digest plant-based material. Eating plant-based has also been shown to counteract some of the major health problems we see in dogs, including obesity and cancer. We're already getting glowing reviews with many 5-star ratings on Trustpilot, and 91% of dog parents say that their dogs love Omni. Many even say that they prefer Omni to their regular meat-based food. And although the dog food market is crowded, what we're offering is completely unique. In fact, we're one of the only plant-powered dog food brands that has a clinical authority that comes with a vet founder. And this is crucial when we consider the fact that more than 50% of dog owners in the UK choose what they feed their dogs based on veterinary advice. It also justifies our premium price point and allows us to enjoy 50% gross margins on our products. We've been able to convert 50% of our trial users into purchasing customers, and will be breaking even by December 2022 and be earning £33 million in revenue by 2025, thanks to our ability to rapidly scale up production due to our strong partnership with United Pet Foods, one of Europe's largest pet food manufacturers, and our partnership with Habu, an award-winning distributor. Our strategy is to launch D2C and penetrate into veterinary channels before penetrating into broader retail channels and then rolling out internationally in Europe and in Asia. We also have exciting new products on the horizon. But for this game-changing mission, we've also got the perfect team to bring it to the next level, with industry leaders in finance, marketing, veterinary medicine and science. And combined, we have over 70 years experience, having worked for the likes of Hills, BuzzFeed, Pets International and IAMS. We've proven an ability to execute fast, and in the last 12 months have proven product market fit, an ability to scale, the backing and credibility of key institutional investors, and we've developed a partnership with Medivet, one of the largest veterinary chains in the UK with over 300 branches, who will be stocking our food from later in July. This is your opportunity to get a foothold in a growing and truly recession-proof industry that has billion-dollar precedents that we seek to emulate. We're now looking to raise £1 million in order to support our marketing and growth and our R&D for future product development, and to expand our talented team to propel us forward into the future. This will allow us to achieve key milestones, including 50,000 purchasing customers and £4 million in revenue by December 2022. Shiv and I are very grateful for your consideration, and we would love to organise a follow-up meeting to discuss things further. Let's become the world's #1 plant-powered dog food brand together. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Maria Paola. I am Chief Strategy Officer at Barilla Group and Managing Director of Asa Chris Bread. I'd like to introduce you to Fair Flavor, a food tech company that makes innovative vegan cheese, gelato and desserts. What I love about Fair Flavor are the hidden treasures of the Canary Nut, a nutrient powerhouse from the Indonesian rainforests that helps fight climate change and protects villages from natural disasters. So nutrition, carbon sequestration and local support all in one. There's growing demand globally for food that is nutritious and delicious and comes at no cost to the environment or our health. And Fair Flavor fits perfectly with the idea of a food system that is more sustainable, more resilient and equitable. Also, I've known Gabriele, one of the co-founders, for many years, and I know how passionate, competent and persistent he is. And I have no doubt in my mind that he and the team will make Fair Flavor a great success.
Hi, my name is Marcello and I'm the co-founder of Fair Flavor, a food technology startup that makes novel vegan cheese, gelato and dessert. There are huge problems related to the consumption and production of dairy. More than 5 billion people in the world have health-related issues related to the consumption of lactose, cholesterol and saturated fat. The dairy industry alone is responsible for 4% of all the human-caused emissions of CO2. And every time you destroy a forest to grow the crops you will then feed to the cows, megatons of CO2 are released back into the atmosphere. And this is why Indonesia is today the third largest emitter in the world. Current alternatives have their challenges too. Loss of fiber and healthy nutrients in the process, and they are very resource intensive. You will need the equivalent in water of 46 bathtubs to farm just 1 kilo of almonds or cashew. This is why we created Fair Flavor. We cater primarily to flexitarians that are concerned about their health, the environment, and are also looking for something new. We make novel vegan cheese, gelato, and desserts. We are delicious and nutritious because we are able to keep all the nutrients and fiber by using the entire nut.
We are sustainable because the nut grows naturally in the Indonesian rainforest, and we are scalable because of the abundant supply. This is our hero, Canary Nut, rich in nutrients and fiber. Widely available, the estimated global production only in Western Melanesia is twice the global production of macadamia. Canary trees are a native species with high potential for carbon sequestration, and they are suitable for community forestry programs. We will be the first company with a certified supply of Canary Nut. Our unique and patented process includes a fermentation step to develop that bouquet of flavor and texture you can only achieve through fermentation. We are able to keep all the fiber and the nutrients by using the entire nut for a less processed product. And the same core technology is applicable to all the product lines for scalability. With our process, we have been able to develop two products, a spreadable vegan cream cheese and a vegan gelato paste that you can use to make vegan gelato. There is a multi-billion-dollar market to disrupt, and we are well placed to service a market that exceeds $400 million. We're going to start in Indonesia with our gelato to then rapidly expand to Singapore and Hong Kong. There is a competitive landscape out there, and this is how we stand out in three main ways. Firstly, when you compare us to the dairy leading brands, we have lower calories, healthier fat, zero cholesterol, and fiber. Secondly, when you compare us to one of our major competitors that also uses the entire nut, cashew nut in this case, we are more sustainable and less resource intensive. Thirdly, we will have the first mover advantage of being the first company with a certified supply of Canary Nut to build loyalty and to ensure sustainable supply. We have made quite a lot of progress since incorporation in November 2020. We are now part of Brinc and Mass Challenge Accelerator programs. We signed NDAs with some of the industry best. A multi-billion-dollar company is now trying one of our products, and we are very excited about what we can accomplish in the next 2 years. We are going to start with our gelato in 2021, and we received excellent feedbacks from industry leaders and customers. For the gelato, we are going to focus on a B2C market approach. We're going to start online to build some traction, and then we hope to sign distribution agreements later on. For our cream cheese, we are going to focus on a B2B market approach. But in both cases, we are able to preserve a profitability higher than 50%. We raised some funds from Artisan, and we are now raising an additional 700K with 4 main milestones in the next 2 years. The launch of the gelato brand in Indonesia, the expansion of the product lines with more cheeses and creams, regulatory work for registration of Canary Nut in Europe and the US, and the filing of our process technology. This is the team that is going to bring this novel and scalable supply to market. A mix of industry leaders, scientists, and entrepreneurs with only one thing in mind: to make a fair flavor a big success. There are people out there that are waiting for novel solutions, and we have the perfect novel and scalable portfolio. We want to bring you on board, and we are asking for a follow-up meeting to discuss investment opportunities. Thank you.
My name is Julian Noctegal, and I am introducing Exponential Foods, also known as Asante. I'm very excited about what they're doing because I think they have found a very unique insight of creating plant-based meat catered to the Mexican Hispanic market, both in the United States and around the world. I think it's a very unique insight, and not just doing a typical plant-based meat company.
Hi, my name is Ivan Jimenez. I am the co-founder and CEO of Asante, a US company with Mexican roots. We're the future of Hispanic flavored plant-based meat. Mexican food is delicious. It is the second largest ethnic cuisine in the US, and we are very proud of its flavors. But the amount of meat we use in our cuisine is not sustainable or healthy. This last issue hit close to home, where several years ago my mother experienced a stroke. After she fully recovered, her doctor recommended eating less meat. But it was not easy. For many of us, health comes second to taste. So my mother was not alone. Many Mexican and Hispanic Americans suffer from a variety of health issues due to poor diets, strokes, heart disease, and obesity, just to name a few. Most of this is preventable, but today's meat substitutes are not good enough. They have too much salt, saturated fats, and preservatives. They are expensive and don't meet Hispanic taste needs. This is why we created Asante, the healthiest option in the market with the right taste. Asante products are affordable, shelf stable, sustainable, and most importantly, they taste like real Mexican meat. Our unique whole cut fillets deliver great texture and flavors. They're made from a mix of grains, legumes, fibers, and fresh ingredients. It is the perfect product for the 240 million Americans who eat Mexican food. There is competition, but our unique supply chain platform between Mexico and the US offers exponential scaling advantages. Even today, on a small scale, we can compete on a price per kilogram with larger companies. Our products contain no preservatives, are lower in fats, and they are ethnic flavored. On top of that, our products are very sustainable, preventing the equivalent of over 45 kilograms of CO2 per purchase. Our products are available in the US and Mexico today. We sold $50,000 in 2020, and this year we will grow over 50% in sales with super limited resources and very little focus on sales. Our focus has been more on product development and on building a strong foundation for our company to scale and operate in both countries. We're convincing Mexican and Hispanic Americans that this is a great upgrade to their diet. We have proven that change is possible, easy and delicious. And recently, one of Mexico's top chefs decided to use Asante in her restaurants. Asante is growing the plant-based category by focusing on people who eat Hispanic cuisine in the US. Our serviceable market is estimated at $500 million, selling only in the cities where we currently can distribute. We have two technology directions at Asante. The first is plant-based. This includes our new product line with pea and mushroom protein. And the second is our fermentation platform. It enables us to discover textures and flavors that improve our products. Our first fermentation lab test has produced mycelium protein that smells and tastes like bacon. We plan to apply for our first patent next year and be the first Hispanic mycelium meat on the market. Our current gross margins are 40%. We're targeting more than 60% while aiming for a retail price of $8.99 per unit in the US, while in Mexico, we're able to sell it in retail at $4.50 per pack. As we scale, we will optimize formulas and reduce shipping costs. Today, we're selling in direct to consumer and in retail. We plan to leverage branding, media, retail partnerships, and drive brand awareness. Most of these efforts will be focused on our launch in LA. This year, we were picked up by a national US retail distributor, and we're in talks with a second. We're also launching a new product line, and next year, we will be starting to sell in food service. In 2024, we will reach break-even with a conservative sales plan. We dream big, and we want to become the Grupo Bimbo of plant-based meat, starting small from Mexico and then grow globally. We are the right team to do this. We bring decades of experience from places like Campbell's, McKinsey, Grupo Alfa, and Unilever. We're raising a 1.5 million seed round. We already have investors willing to back us, and the resources will be used for marketing, production, product development, and to strengthen our team. Salud, to a better way of eating Mexican food. Let's talk more, and thank you.
Hello everyone, I work as mentor with Clear Meat, a team that I've been working with for more than 3 years now. It's one of the best teams that I've seen in India, trying to build the product using synthetic biology. Though I don't understand science as much, but all I know that Professor Dhar and Siddharth, both of them form a fantastic team, and I have no doubt in my mind that they will probably be one of the most successful alternative protein and a meat substitute startup from India. Thank you very much and wishing the Clear Meat team all the very best.
Hi, my name is Siddharth Manvati, co-founder at ClearMeat, India's first and only lab-grown meat company which is developing ethical and environment-friendly solutions for the food industry. Reports show that 80% of humans prefer meat, and with the increase in population, there has been a huge surge in the demand for meat products. This has resulted in the creation of factory farms. These huge factory farms not only use antibiotics but have resulted in massive problems including the misuse of land resources, emission of greenhouse waste and gases, and the misuse of water footprint. There is an enormous environmental imbalance, and it is high time that we find sustainable solutions. Currently, there are two possible ways to resolve this. The number one way is to go plant based, where the beginning material is soya or pea plant, which are mixed with certain edible oils and industrialized to create meat lookalikes, or the lab grown way, where a biopsy is taken from the animal and grown in a nutrient rich environment to give out 100% meat. Now, being 100% meat, this would always remain the preference of meat eaters. The key ingredient in a lab grown meat is the nutrient media, or scientifically known as fetal bovine serum. This fetal bovine serum is responsible for 60% of the production cost and is obtained by killing calves. The killing of calves does not sit in line with the vision that this industry is trying to achieve. That's why we have created and patented our first product, ClearX9, which is the replacement for fetal bovine serum and is 60% cheaper and is made up of natural resources. We have done the initial proof of concept on chicken muscle cells and human liver cells to validate the performance of ClearX9. More cell types are in the process of validation. And importantly, using this ClearX9, we have also created EcoMeat, our version of the lab grown meat. This is not only cheaper but antibiotic free and slaughter free. With EcoMeat, we have performed the initial proof of concept to create minced chicken, or also called as chicken keema, using our unique clump forming strategy. The target audience for ClearX9 is initially 10% of the Indian market, which is approximately $2.1 million. And for EcoMeat, we plan to target initially 1% of the Asian poultry demand, which is approximately $450 million. And we are happy to say that we have already received interest from many companies here in India, which include Licious, Inner Chef, and Nandu's, and have been well covered through various global media platforms. The in-house patented technology that we have created at ClearMeat is not only sustainable but also affordable and scalable as compared to our other competitors out there in the market. We plan to launch our supplement for fetal bovine serum, or ClearX9, at the price point of $30 per liter in a business with all model. This would be done not only for the food industry but also for the universities, pharmaceutical labs, and institutes. For EcoMeat, we plan to launch it at the price point of $10 per kg in a business to business model in association with FMCG players. We have already achieved the required proof of concept and the laboratory proof of concept for both of our products and plan to launch the supplement for fetal bovine serum, that is ClearX9, by the end of 2022, and the lab grown meat, that is EcoMeat, by the end of 2024. And none of this would have been possible without the perfect team. There's myself and Dr. Pavandar, and we both in total have more than 40 years of research experience in the field of molecular biology and synthetic biology. We have also have the skill sets ranging from finance to research. Currently, we have been seed supported through Mistletoe and Brinc and are raising pre-Series A $1.2 million. This would help us create an independent R&D facility and industrialize ClearX9 and achieve a market revenue of approximately $1 million in the coming months. Come and join us on our mission to revolutionize the meat industry. I would like to invite you to a follow-up conversation and I'm happy to take your questions. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Nicolas Ders. I'm a Food Transition Director and in charge of plant-based acceleration at Carrefour Group. I followed the update project till the beginning and I think it's a great project for many reasons because it will help our clients to go towards a more plant-based diet. And moreover, I think that Clémence, she's a great leader of the project for many reasons because she listens to advices in order to make the project and the strategy more appealing to retailers like us and to our clients. So good luck, Update.
Hi, my name is Clémence and I am the CEO of Update Foods, based in Paris. We are developing the next generation of dairy and industry leaders are already talking about us. Dairy products are staples in our lives and yet they do not help us take care of our health or the planet. Did you know that 75% of the world's population is suffering of poor digestibility because of its lactose intolerance? And we all want to lower our cholesterol levels, and for that, dairy does not help. On the other side, it requires 600 liters of water to produce 1 liter of cow's milk, and it creates 3 times more GHG emissions than drinking plant-based milk. The problem is, even if people want to ditch dairy for more sustainable and healthy alternatives, they do not manage to stick to plant-based dairy. These products have an amazing potential, but do not manage to go mainstream because they do not fulfill what we are all looking for in dairy products: creaminess, freshness, nutrition, and most of all, pleasure. Almost half of the French population wants to eat more plant-based. In Asia, it's 69% of the population, and in Latin America, it's 71% of the population who are looking for alternatives to dairy. After 50 iterations, and backed by one of the most promising startups using algae in food products, Algama, we bring you the world's first plant-based milk using algae and fava protein. Thanks to a unique production process and the use of fava protein, its texture is as creamy as cow's milk. It's all-purpose, just like regular milk. We use fava protein and algae to enhance your intake in protein, omega-3, fibers, so that you can take care of your body and your palate at the same time. And you know what? Our product is allergen-free and is so delicious that you can enjoy it with all your family and friends. There are big competitors on the market, but what makes us unique is the use of very innovative, eco-friendly ingredients, just like algae, a unique, very pleasing taste, while staying nutritious, low in sugar, low in carb, without allergen. Also, this product is super versatile. And finally, we developed other innovations that no one mainstreamed before. For instance, we developed a plant-based milk powder that is super practical and customizable. More generally, we are able to cover every consumption occasion that is usually associated with dairy products, thanks to the unlimited but untapped potential of algae. Even before being on the market, we are getting great feedbacks and 5-star reviews from our target customers. The biggest French producer of plant-based milks even stated that our milk was the best he had ever tasted, and Carrefour applauds how good our product tastes in coffee. In a year, we managed to secure strong industrial partnerships with Tetra Pak and the French biggest producer of alternative milk, making our product scalable. We got support from Brinc and ProVeg, and now we are working on our industrial transfer so that we can launch our plant-based milk in a few months in France. From this winter, we'll go into retail with a major retailer like Carrefour, but we'll also launch on online marketplaces and work with cafes and restaurants to soon work with iconic food chains. We will reach 1 million euro sales at the end of next year, and thanks to a replicable model, we can and we will scale at the international level from 2023. In no less than 3 years, we'll be in at least 4 countries, generating more than 12 million euros revenue. With a former marketing director of Coca-Cola France and an expert in retail and distribution, we are a highly experienced team, ready to answer Update Foods' standard from the crowd and develop sustainably. 5 more people will join our team after this funding round. We are looking for 800,000 euros as we've already secured 200,000. This will enable us to invest into an aggressive marketing strategy for our French launch, new product development as we want to launch a range extension on the second range pretty soon, and talent acquisition to deliver even more than what we are expected to do. What you've seen is a current drought of satisfying plant-based alternatives in spite of a huge demand. We are bringing to the market a new technology that is able to mainstream alternative dairy and to have a huge impact on people's well-being, health, and ecological footprint. Let's have a follow-up meeting to take this conversation further. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Fabien Réja, the CEO for Denise Group, the company behind I Am Brand. About Sophie's Bionutrition, we like the technology, that of growing single-cell proteins in bioreactors from food waste within a very clean environment and with a total control on process. We like the founders, Eugene and Barnabas, both with a vision and a passion for what sustainable food system is about, and most importantly, a total commitment to make it possible. And at last, as a food manufacturer, I am definitely interested in alternative protein solutions that are sustainable, widely available, and marketable. Therefore, I see a great market and a great future for SBN, and I strongly encourage them to go for it.
Hi everyone, my name is Eugene Wen. I'm the co-founder and CEO of a company called Sophie's Bionutrients. Our goal is to create a truly sustainable protein production system that requires absolute minimum resources with absolute maximum nutrition output. This is the problem we're trying to tackle with. We all know that when people get wealthier, they tend to eat more protein, especially animal protein. We also know that animal protein is not healthy and not sustainable. That's why we're promoting plant-based protein. Question is plant-based protein really the silver bullets that we're looking for? Well, we think not. That's why we're proposing this solution. We went through close to 1,000 different strains of microalgae, and we finally found about 4 strains of microalgae that can grow in dark, in fermentation style, and be sturdy enough to be fed with all kinds of industrial food waste to create a circular economy. And the finished product is a wonderful light color, light flavor, pleasant protein flour that you can make into a lot of foods. And potentially down the road, this protein flour can be very affordable in price. And so the market opportunity is actually very real. The recent Boston Consulting Group research also pointed out that by the year 2035, we're going to have close to 22 million metric tons of alternative protein consumed coming from microorganism-based protein. And out of that, we believe a lot of it will be from microalgae protein. So why our technology is more sustainable? Well, first is time. Growing our microalgae, we only need about 3 days because our microalgae can double in size in every 8 to 12 hours. And because of the short cycle, all the water energy we need on a per unit basis is very, very low. And then the second is the space. Growing a ton of pure protein from our microalgae requires just that 0.02 hectares of space. And don't forget, using bioreactors, we don't need any of these chemicals in the process. Really healthy to the environment and also the human body. So the reason why we choose to use food waste to feed our microalgae are for 2 obvious reasons: reduce cost and circular economy. And the first food waste we're going to choose to use here in Singapore will be the Nestle's Milo factory's Spain waste. And I just mentioned about the price can be very competitive. Down the road, if we can use a big enough bioreactor, big enough fermentation tank, potentially we can lower our microalgae protein flour down to the degree that can be competitive or even lower than the soy protein flour that we see today. And that will really opens up a lot of market for our products. So this is our product roadmap. We plan to design a lot of different kind of protein flour with different kind of functionalities so that we can satisfy different kind of product applications. And this is our first protein flour. As you can see right here, the color is really pleasant and it has almost 70% purity. In our industry jargon, this can be called a protein concentrate. And from this protein concentrate, we successfully made it into a plant milk. And we're also working on our second protein flour that can be made into a plant-based meat. We have a lot of IPs on our technology. So far, we have filed 6 provisional patents in the US. We also have 2 design patents on our bioreactor. And of course, we have a lot of trade secrets in our technology to protect our competitive advantage as well. This is our revenue model. We're going to be B2B ingredients, food ingredient sales. We plan to sell our finished protein flour directly. We also plan to license or joint venture our technology with other big companies in other markets so that we can really cut down the carbon footprint and make this technology really green and really sustainable. This is our go-to-market strategy. We're now in phase 1, doing a lot of customization. Going forward, we'll do more standardization and also work closely with regional and industry-specific distributors. And I'm glad to report that Ingredients Asia Pacific has become our first customer. This is our competitive landscape. We're the only one in Asia, only one in Singapore, and also only the one in the world using food waste to feed our microalgae. This is our milestones and tractions. We started this project in Singapore back in 2017. We have a lot of government grants and investment support. And last year, we closed our seed round with Dennis Group Asia Pacific. This is our ask, $10 million US. A lot of money will be used on company facility. And my team, other than myself, I got Kirin and Banasbus, both of whom have a lot of years of experiences in pharmaceutical and nutraceutical industry, and our team of scientific advisory board. Thank you very much. And the floor opens up for any questions. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Mia. I'm the program director for Big Idea Ventures New York office. And our firm invested in Yokonut and worked with Yokonut closely as part of our second accelerator program. We had a great experience working with Bonnie. We think that she has a lot of passion, a lot of drive, and she's not going to let anything stand in her way. And from an investment perspective, it's a really great product. I think it fits into the space really well, primarily due to the nutritional profile. Most other options out there are loaded with added sugars, and Yokonut has none. So that was one of the key driving factors for us.
Hi, I'm Bonnie, CEO and founder of Yokonut Dairy Free. We are the gut health innovators in dairy alternatives. My journey was inspired by my grandma, my superhero. Losing her to diabetes had taught me how much our gut impacts our health. And scientists have confirmed our gut houses a massive proportion of our immune system. Yogurt has been the go-to source for gut health support, but 70% of the world population are lactose intolerant. Moreover, the probiotics in today's yogurt might not confer health benefits because 1, the dosages might not be enough. 2, they might not survive in your stomach acids. Or 3, be beneficial to human. And 4, they might already be depleted by the time you have it, which means they are just empty promises. And plant-based yogurt aren't doing any better. Often, they are full of fat, loaded with sugar, and just taste bad. This is where Yokonut comes in. we have the guts to outroar the industry. Delivering on taste first, Yokonut is known for whole coconut benefits, zero added sugar, potassium, and calcium. Our new innovation translates cutting-edge science into a dairy-free, creamy, craveable coconut yogurt. Formulated with science-backed ultimate probiotics, Yokonut boosts immunity, digestions, and help body absorb nutrients. In addition, each cup only has 2 g of sugar. That's right, even our Madagascar vanilla bean, lemon cream, and strawberry dream only have 2 g of sugar. And our customers tell us Yokonut is the best yogurt they've ever put in their mouth. The US yogurt market is a $9 billion industry. The rising number of flexitarians, coupled with the surging demand for food towards digestive health and wellness, are the key growth drivers for the next phase in yogurt. Remember, 70% of the world population cannot have dairy, which means all of the yogurts you see today are only serving 30% of the market, leaving 70% wide open. We believe by addressing this white space, Yokonut will soar and dominate the market. Our business model is built on having a memorable product, relentless customer focus, and distribution. Pre-COVID, we've built solid sales in food services distributed to Fortune 500 companies such as Netflix and Airbnb. This account has brought us volume, recurring revenue, and a brilliant way to drive market trial. We are now actively building relationships with retailers and online platforms. In just 5 weeks, we will be partnering up with a seasoned co-packer, penetrating the markets in California and New York, and then scaling nationally and globally. Yokonut wants to be people parts of every day, from fridges in San Francisco to the companies in New York to the millions of people in China. I am building a team with deep industry knowledge. I myself am a CPA with Big Four experience. Our next hire is a VP of sales who has more than 30 years of experience taking young brands to iconic level. And we just signed on Jeff Furman, president of Ben & Jerry's Board of Trustees, as an advisor. We are raising $1 million for people and sales and marketing, enabling us to 600 stores with $2 million in revenue. Yokonut is running the ramp to exponential growth. Come and join us. Thank you.
I'm Claus Mortensen, a business developer in Food and Biocluster Denmark. I've had the opportunity to work with Sajjad and Food for the last 3 to 4 years. He gets all my recommendations. He's very coachable and he gets things done. And from a market perspective, the upcycle ingredients is definitely something that we see a huge need for in our member base of the 290 members we have in our cluster. So best of luck, Sajjad. Thanks. Bye.
Hi, my name is Sajjad Haider. I'm founder and CEO of UpFood. Every year, almost 50% of fruits and vegetables produced in the world are wasted. because due to the high moisture content of fruits and vegetables, they need to be consumed, processed, or stored immediately. In the aftermath of COVID-19 pandemic and growing human population, food security is one of the main challenges for the mankind today. We need to find a solution for our food waste. Our Food is a food tech company that upcycles surplus produce into plant-based ingredients at lowest cost possible and also at minimum CO2 footprint. Food upcycling is a growing trend. In 2019, the upcycled foods had a market size of $47 billion with a CAGR of 5% over the next 10 years. However, most of the companies involved in upcycling today are facing two major challenges. Firstly, they need to develop their own sustainable supply chain. And secondly, they source their raw materials mostly from food distributors and supermarkets. This often results in higher cost of raw materials and production costs requiring premium price listing for their products. Our Food aims to upcycle surplus produce at farms and food industry. This is also very challenging because they are often in remote locations with limited infrastructure, and also the surplus is generated in very large volumes. Our Food has developed its proprietary drying technologies that can be deployed in remote locations right at the source of the surplus and have the capacity to process large quantities, and also utilizes the renewable energy resources. The drying process removes the moisture from the perishable food and upcycle them into stable dried products that are significantly reduced in the weight and the volume, and they can be transported from remote locations without depending on the road conditions. Our upcycled ingredients can then be utilized as dried foods, food ingredients, as raw materials for extraction of bioactive compounds like colors, flavors, etc. And they can also be used as biomaterials. Although we have started right now within the B2C market, but we are also hoping that our main market, where we see our 70% of sales, will be from our business in the B2B segment, where we will be supplying the upcycled ingredients to different food companies. In June 2021, we started to list our dried fruit snacks in supermarkets in Denmark. These snacks are 100% natural and without any preservatives, and produced from the farms that are located in Denmark and Sweden. In Q3 2021, we are also going to introduce a nutrient-rich flour that is upcycled from the organic fruit pulp from the juice industry. This flour can be added to the bakery products to improve their nutrition profile, because today, if you look into the different bakery products, especially the products within the cakes and pastry segments, they are very low in nutrition. And by adding this the flour that we have made, we will increase the nutrition profile of these products. In Q4, we will introduce a prebiotic product in the nutraceutical markets, and this product is also based on upcycled ingredients. In our team, we have capabilities within engineering, within the food technology, and also within the mechanical engineering design. And also we have a new colleague who is working within the sales development. We are seeking a funding of around $500,000 US, and the funding will be utilized for our market expansion and growth to the next level, where we want to expand to the other countries, starting from the Scandinavia, and then go to the Europe, and then to the remaining part of the world. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Professor George F. Smoot, the 2006 Nobel laureate in physics. Here, I hope to establish a long-term academic exchange cooperation and relationship with Mao Jian to empower jointly the medical and health industry and promote healthy vegan meals and meats development. Mao Jian is one of its leaders, and they are committing to making healthy food available to everyone. Mao Jian vegan meat is characterized by zero cholesterol, no hormones, no antibiotics, low calories and low fat and low purine, which is much more healthy to eat. Here, I wish you and your company a complete success. Wish food, change life. Thank you and good luck.
My name is Jonathan, founder of MeatFresh. To have family members, friends suffering from chronic diseases, cancer, and being in a healthy lifestyle. My colleague Johnny has type 2 diabetes and is struggling about what to eat every day. My very close friend Kate, her mother has breast cancer and she has no idea how to prepare the right meat and meal for her mother. How to prepare healthy meat and meal become a richest demand to 600 million Chinese people. Plant-based protein is the key. They are desperate to find healthy meat and meal solution for themselves and their family. And that's how MeatFresh started. So how are we different from other brands? We have more advanced technology, better nutrition, and extensive business model that can drive fast-growing revenue in the future. For our plant-based meat, we use a molecular protein slicing and modification technology to transform the plant-based long-chain protein into short-chain proteins. To be more like animal protein texture and nutrition, we use induction synthesis to specifically slice and modify our proteins with the right amino acids on molecular level. Adding MeatFresh secret powder A and powder B in the extrusion and the seasoning process. We use our technologies to fulfill like animal nutrition while productions can be massive and need much less additive and gum. For better taste and more environmentally friendly, we use fermented fruit peels to extract flavor. To support our R&D, we use photomic analysis, which is like decoding the genes and structure of proteins to better analyze the nutrition of our products. Our competitors are trying to overcome different proteins in the way of taste, textures, seasoning, and additives. They are trying to imitate the meat while we make our meat closer to the textures and nutrition in the molecular and microscopic level. MeatFresh make every protein be plant-based possible. Our pre-cooked meat, meal, snack target customers who are busy, white-collar, family, and retired people who want to eat healthily. We have 4 different business models, B2B2C, B2B, B2H2C. H stands for hospital, healthcare, and health aids. And also we have a direct-to-customer strategy with an online platform to reach our customers throughout China. In terms of branding, we are also find different from our competitors. Most plant-based brands are targeting fast food chain, which Chinese people know fast food are not healthy. We want to build a healthy image, working with health centers, hospital, and healthy assisting living center. Founded in 2019, MeatFresh Magic Powder was invented in Fudan University, which helped evolve our second and third generation meat. In 2020, we won a grant, $400,000 from Hangzhou City government to recognize our innovation in proteins. Then we got our first investment from Lava VC, accelerating us to join the Brinc program. Meanwhile, we also started developing more than 100 dishes ready to eat meat and meal. In 2021, Nobel Prize Dr. Smooth wrote a testimony on our products to recommend everyone to try. We have just signed an agreement with Baima selling meat and meal products to 200 supermarkets. In addition, we signed a strategic partnership with Mini Julao. We are going to connect 140,000 doctors and 1,000 hospitals. We are aiming to file IPO in the next 5 years and passionate to become #1 ready-to-eat nutrition plant-based meat and meal company, impacting 400 million Chinese people and even more Asians. I'm originally from Hong Kong and have spent 16 years in business and a serial entrepreneurial experience in China and Hong Kong. My partner Dr. Wu is our CTO, very talented in food and healthy tech and R&D. Dr. Ramasamy is our consultant from McGill University in Canada, assisting Dr. Wu in R&D of our next generation meat. Katrin Li is a registered dietitian with US and China clinical experience developing healthy meat and meal to our customers. Dr. Bao is our executive chef, which is one of the best plant-based cooking chefs in China. Why invest in MeatFresh? We have the perfect mix of experts in our team, products, and market positioning while integrating the ease and West perspective. We will be the next unicorn in China and Asia, making impact of people and animal with better technology, unique value, and strategy. We are looking for $1 million to fuel us to the next level. If you are interested in meat fresh, please feel free to contact me. Let food improve life.
Thank you all for joining us today. I hope you've enjoyed these amazing presentations. All these startups have put up an incredible amount of work over the last few months, and the progress has been fantastic. This concludes today's event. The networking section will remain open for another 10 minutes in case you still want to connect with the startups. Finally, tomorrow, an email with a recap will be sent to all of you with a link to our own platform where the presentations will be available after today. You can also request to be connected to the founders via the link you will receive through the email. We hope you reach out as these amazing founders are eager to continue their amazing path with you. Once again, thank you for joining us this evening, and thank you for your time and your attention. We hope you enjoy the event. Good night.